Yo, I am editing the podcast right now. Here is your intro. Um, Lots of ums and buts and ands and ums on the first episode. I would just hit 2x speed if you want to get through it. First podcast, let's run it. Boom. Welcome. This is the first episode of The Social Playbook. Pretty exciting. I wanted to start a podcast for a while now. Just want to do it because why not? You guys need another podcast to listen to. The Social Playbook, it's right there. Spent some time on the graphic. Hopefully it looks cool on camera. So basically it's just going to be a bunch of social media stuff. I feel like there's not a ton of really great social media podcasts out there right now that are attacking like day-to-day things and like what's actually happening right now. A lot of them feel very corporate and not hip. Not to say that I'm very hip. I have 2 hips and they're not lying. But so here's my co-host. I don't have a co-host, so if you want to be my co-host, let me know. Let's dive into the episode. So not usually because I just started, but the premise is I kind of want to go through some hot topics that are happening in social media today. And I think the first episode, I'm just going to run through who I am. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Michael Deas. Deas as in... You know what? So perfect for a social media guy, huh? Anyways, based out of Atlanta, and Dad was an entrepreneur. I studied entrepreneurship in college, and throughout college, I learned a lot about social media and a lot about creating content. Before college, I was always into like making videos, messing around on the computer with video effects, like whatever was on the desktop, whether it was like a black and white thing or, like those Mac photo gallery effects, basically messing with those. If I can find old videos, I'll right here. But yeah, continuously just didn't have any, professional guidance or tutorials. I just like kind of learned stuff on YouTube, like chugging along. If I like had an idea and I wanted to make it, I just looked it up and then did it. And that's kind of how I learned creating graphics, videos. So my first job, I worked for a home remodeling and handyman business. And I learned a ton just from like business, business wise, social media wise. My boss really gave me the chance to show off what I was like capable of and like learning. I was still learning and I didn't know how to do motion design. And so figured out the best program is PowerPoint. Obviously not. So if I can find it, I will put in my PowerPoint animation that I made for Instagram carousel, I think is what I was doing it for. We were launching a new brand, and I figured let's try to spruce it up, because everything looked like it was made in PowerPoint, and it needed some help. So I did the podcast over there. That's where I learned a lot of my podcast stuff. Kind of just the the cadence, what you should be at, interacting with listeners, setting up the show, um, getting your keywords and your SEO and your titles right. Um, so I learned all of that through the company. And what else did I learn? But yeah, pretty much just grinded like tutorials. And I would say if you're looking to get in the social media space, you need to know how to make things. I'm not talking about Canva. I'm sorry. Canva is, if you're working for a mom and pop shop, or if you're, not to shoot out shots right now, but if you're at a boutique and you're doing little Canva edits, that'll get you, through a summer internship. But if you want to roll with the big dogs, not to say I'm a big dog, but I have worked for some big dogs, and you need to know Photoshop, obviously. And I would say Figma is also what the big dogs use. If you're going to eventually go into just making graphic design or creating display ads, obviously you need to learn Illustrator as well. But for graphic design, that's what you need to know. Yeah, talking about big dogs, I will go into my big dog experience. So after that home remodeling company I was with, I started an internship with it was kind of an agency. And again, I did podcast stuff, creating, cover arts. Anyways, cover arts, everything to do with the realm of making a podcast. And yeah, it was chill. My boss was great. She taught me a lot of things. I learned like all the Meta Business Suite and Google Ads, and a lot of that stuff you can learn for free through Google and Facebook or Meta. So don't make excuses. But yeah, loved that job. Extended it through school, and then had to close it out because you need to focus on school. Then throughout college, I see a lot of peers use an app called Prize Picks. Prize Picks was the go-to betting app, and all my friends used it. Sounds like a drug, but anyways. And I had this one friend, he still works there, but he started working there as a member representative. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing ever. And I had to be at Prize Picks. I was destined to be at Prize Picks. I figured that out, or I thought that at the time. And I did whatever I could to get at Prize Picks. So he tries to give me a recommendation to get into the member representative position, because a lot of the time you went into that position if you're younger, and then you can kind of went into promotions, social media, like stuff like that, some intro level jobs. And I somehow got lost through the recommendation list, and time went on, and I was beaten down, and that sucked. I then applied to a podcast producer position, which I thought I had my big boots on and ready to use my podcast experience But they were really looking for a director position, and they got a big dog from Spotify and was killing it. So then after that, kind of a year goes by, and I'm still trying to grind to get to Prize Picks because they're based in Atlanta. That's where I'm from, and my friend worked there. All my peers thought it was super cool, so let me just. I wanted to be there so bad, and so one day a social media position came up, and I was like, I wasn't even expecting it to get anything. I just was like, I just got to find out, apply for it, see what happens. Because I was already beaten down. I was like, it's a sign that I'm not working here. But turns out, I got the job. I grinded. Like, I took the branding. If I can find the image, I'll put it up. But I did like a slideshow of like like their branding and like why they should choose me. And it was like what do you call it? Not a lineup, but a pick of like, hire me? Yeah or nah. So you really want to go the extra mile if you want what you want. And it sounds like it was really simple. I just applied. But I think if you put out the effort of grinding late nights, learning things, I think the universe will just kind of give you what you want. So I like manifested to get that job, and I stood out. And I had a great time at Prize Picks. It was, I'll show some of my work, boom, 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 boom. Eventually, I want to go through some of the stuff I did in other episodes, and kind of dive in to what some strategies and like how I did things. Where did those ideas come from that can apply to you? Stuff like that. So after Prize Picks, I had a short little stint with DraftKings. Very short. Was kind of gearing up for NFL and other things came up, and I'm at a new company now. I'll also go into things I've done at DraftKings that worked as well in later episodes. So keep that on your radar. I'm probably saying and a lot, so bear with me. But this is the first time we're growing. And let's see. And now I'm at CBT News, which is awesome. I got that. Got the job through a friend, and we've been grinding content every day, trying to innovate the brand, get the brand onto social. And I'm excited to share what we do, like our learnings and what's working. You guys can kind of get a live, like I'm in this stuff, like I'm for real. I'm not a Canva designer. I hate too much on Canva probably, but get a grip, people. I will say Canva has some really nice templates. So, but you gotta make your own stuff if you want to roll with the big dogs. Anywho, so that's kind of my social media journey. I had some, what do you call it? Some news stories that I wanted to dive into, but it's probably getting too long. So yeah, I just wanted to create this podcast. I'll go into news articles and stuff in the future. That'll be kind of like the regular cadence of the episode. Hot topics, something I've done, or something that's interesting that another company is doing in social media or advertising, and some tidbits, maybe a meme of the week at the end of the episode. Um, yeah, I'm excited for this journey. I'm ready to learn how to be a host. Hopefully, I can get a co-host. Um, I'd like to get guests on the show that are like really big dogs in the space. Maybe business owners, some colleagues. I think it'll be a good time. So buckle up for some awesome stuff on the way. I don't know if I have intro or outro music yet. So roll the outro, baby.